The morning sun cast long shadows across the United Earth Command Center as Captain Zara Blackwood adjusted her crisp blue uniform for what might be humanity's most important day. Her emerald eyes reflected years of military training, but today carried something different, a mixture of determination and barely concealed nervousness that made her heart race beneath her composed exterior. Zara had earned her position through countless battles against space pirates and her brilliant tactical mind, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. The massive viewing screen displayed the approaching alien fleet, their ships gleaming like silver tears against the star-studded void. Each vessel was easily 10 times larger than Earth's most advanced cruisers, their sleek designs speaking of technology beyond human comprehension. The communication array crackled to life, and Admiral Torres's weathered face appeared on the secondary monitor. His expression was grim as he spoke in clipped tones. "Captain Blackwood, the alien delegation will arrive within the hour. Remember, you're not just representing Earth's military, you're speaking for all of humanity. Whatever they want, we need to buy ourselves time to prepare our defenses." Zara nodded, her fingers unconsciously smoothing down her raven-black hair that she'd pulled back into a professional bun. The weight of 3 billion lives pressed down on her shoulders, but she'd rather die than show weakness to whatever was coming through that airlock. Her team of 12 officers stood at attention behind her, their faces mirrors of her own resolve mixed with fear. The docking bay doors hissed open with mechanical precision, and Zara felt her breath catch in her throat. The alien delegation entered with an otherworldly grace that made her pulse quicken in ways she hadn't expected. Leading them was a figure that commanded attention without effort. Tall, elegant, with skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light somewhere between gold and bronze. Prince Kalen Vorthak of the Andromedian Empire moved with the fluid confidence of someone born to rule galaxies. His eyes were the color of liquid amber, holding depths that spoke of centuries of experience despite his seemingly youthful appearance. The perfectly tailored robes he wore seemed to flow around his powerful frame like liquid starlight, and when his gaze met Zara's across the docking bay, she felt something electric pass between them. "I am Prince Kalen, first ambassador of the Galactic Council." His voice resonated through the chamber with a musical quality that made Zara's skin tingle. The universal translator made his words clear, but couldn't hide the sensual undertones that made several of her officers shift uncomfortably. "I seek audience with your planetary leaders to discuss Earth's integration into our galactic community." Zara stepped forward, her military bearing intact despite the way her heart was racing. "I am Captain Zara Blackwood, appointed representative of the United Earth government. We're prepared to hear what you have to say, though I should warn you that humanity doesn't respond well to ultimatums." A smile played at the corners of Kalen's lips, and Zara noticed how it transformed his entire face from regally intimidating to devastatingly attractive. "Your reputation for stubbornness precedes you, Captain. We've been observing your species for some time. Your wars, your passions, your remarkable ability to overcome impossible odds. It's quite fascinating." The formal meeting began in Conference Room Alpha, Earth's most secure diplomatic facility. Zara sat across from Kalen at the polished obsidian table, acutely aware of how his presence seemed to fill the entire room. His delegation flanked him, other aliens of various species, all beautiful in their own exotic ways, but none commanding attention like their prince. Kalen's proposal was delivered with the same mesmerizing voice that had first caught Zara's attention. The Galactic Council, he explained, was offering Earth membership in their vast civilization. In exchange for protection, advanced technology, and access to thousands of worlds, humanity would need to contribute resources, surrender their most advanced weaponry, and accept council oversight of their government. "Think of it as a partnership," Kalen said, leaning slightly forward. Zara caught a hint of something like exotic spices and starlight in his scent, and had to force herself to concentrate on his words rather than the way his amber eyes seemed to see straight through her professional facade. "Your species has tremendous potential, but you're still children playing with fire. We can guide you to greatness." Zara felt her temper flare at the condescending tone, even as part of her remained disturbingly attracted to the being delivering it. "Children? We've survived ice ages, world wars, and learned to split the atom. We've reached the stars on our own, without anyone's help or permission. What makes you think we need your guidance? The tension in the room was palpable, but underneath it ran an electric current of attraction that both Zara and Kalen were trying desperately to ignore. His eyes lingered on her face longer than strictly diplomatic protocol required, taking in the fire in her green eyes and the determined set of her jaw. Because, Kalen said softly, his voice dropping to an intimate register that made Zara's pulse quicken. Without our protection, species like yours tend to destroy themselves. Or worse, they attract the attention of those who would enslave or eliminate them entirely. The galaxy can be a very dangerous place for the unprepared. The negotiations continued for hours, with neither side willing to give ground. Zara found herself caught between her duty to protect Earth's independence and a growing fascination with the alien prince, who spoke of conquest with the same passionate intensity that she'd once reserved for battlefield tactics. During a brief recess, Kalen approached her near the viewing windows that showed Earth's blue marble hanging in space. "You're not what I expected, Captain Blackwood," he said quietly, close enough that she could feel the warmth radiating from his alien physiology. "What did you expect?" Zara asked, turning to face him. They were alone for the first time since his arrival, and the diplomatic masks they'd been wearing seemed to slip slightly. "Someone easier to intimidate," Kalen admitted, a genuine smile replacing his diplomatic expression. "Someone who wouldn't make me question everything I've been taught about lesser species." His hand moved as if to touch her face, then stopped, just short, trembling slightly with the effort of restraint. Zara felt her resolve wavering as she looked into his eyes. There was something there beyond duty or conquest, a loneliness that matched her own, a desire for connection that transcended species barriers. "And you're not what I expected either. I thought you'd be some cold, calculating conqueror. Instead, you're—" She paused, struggling with feelings she couldn't afford to have. "Instead, I'm falling for the enemy," Kalen finished quietly, his voice filled with wonder and despair in equal measure. The moment stretched between them, heavy with possibility and impossibility in equal measure. Then reality crashed back as Admiral Torres's voice crackled through Zara's communicator, reminding her that Earth's answer was due within the hour. When the final session convened, Zara stood before the alien delegation with her head held high. The weight of her decision pressed down on her, made heavier by the way Kalen watched her with those amber eyes that seemed to plead with her, even as his face remained diplomatically neutral. "The United Earth government has reached a decision," Zara announced, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "We appreciate the Council's offer, but we must respectfully decline. Earth will remain independent. We'll forge our own path among the stars." The silence that followed was deafening. Kalen's expression didn't change, but Zara saw something die in his eyes. Hope, perhaps, or the dream of what might have been possible between them. "I had hoped it wouldn't come to this," Kalen said finally, rising from his seat with regal dignity intact despite what Zara recognized as genuine pain in his voice. "The Council will not accept defiance. War will come, Captain Blackwood. And when it does, I want you to know that what I feel for you won't change what I must do." As the alien delegation prepared to leave, Kalen paused beside Zara's chair. For just a moment, his fingers brushed against hers, a touch so brief it might have been accidental, but the electricity that passed between them left no doubt about its intentional nature. "This isn't over," he whispered too quietly for anyone else to hear. "What's between us, and it's bigger than duty or war or species. You'll see." Zara watched him leave, her heart breaking, even as her mind focused on the coming conflict. Earth had chosen independence over safety, freedom over protection. Now they would have to prove that humanity deserved both. The war was coming, but so was something else. A love that might just be powerful enough to change the fate of both their worlds. 3 months had passed since Earth's defiant rejection of the Galactic Council's ultimatum, and the war that followed had transformed the solar system into a battlefield of unprecedented scale. Captain Zara Blackwood stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned battleship Defiance, watching through reinforced viewports as Earth's defense fleet engaged Council forces near the asteroid belt. The sight should have filled her with pride. Humanity had proven far more resourceful than anyone expected. Using guerrilla tactics and innovative technology, Earth's forces had held their own against the seemingly superior alien fleet. But Zara's heart was torn between duty and desire, strategy and longing. Every battle brought the possibility of facing Prince Kalen Vorthak in combat, and the thought of crossing weapons with the alien who had awakened feelings she'd never experienced filled her with dread. "Captain, we're receiving a priority transmission," Lieutenant Commander Nash reported, from the communications station. His voice carried the weariness that had become common among Earth's defenders. Months of constant vigilance were taking their toll on everyone. "Put it through," Zara commanded, expecting another update from command. Instead, the main screen flickered to life, revealing a familiar figure that made her pulse quicken despite the circumstances. Prince Kalen appeared in his private chambers aboard the Council flagship Dominion. Gone was the formal diplomatic attire. Instead, he wore simple dark clothing that emphasized his athletic build. His amber eyes carried the same weariness she felt, but when they focused on her through the transmission, they sparked with an intensity that made her forget they were supposed to be enemies. "Captain Blackwood," Kalen said, his voice carrying that same musical quality that had first captivated her. "I've taken considerable risk to establish this private channel. We need to talk." Zara glanced around the bridge, noting how her crew tactfully focused on their stations while pretending not to listen. "All hands, you have the bridge. I'll be in my ready room." She moved to her private office, sealing the door behind her before activating the secure communication terminal. "This is highly irregular, Prince Kalen," she said, though her formal tone couldn't hide the way her breathing had quickened at seeing him again. "Fraternizing with the enemy could be considered treason by both our sides." Kalen moved closer to his transmission device, and suddenly it felt as though he were in the room with her. "Treason," he repeated softly. "Is that what we're calling these feelings? This connection that neither of us can deny?" His hand pressed against the screen, and Zara found herself unconsciously reaching toward the image. "It doesn't matter what we call it," Zara replied, though her voice lacked conviction. "We're on opposite sides of a war. You're here to conquer my world, and I'm here to stop you. Am I?" Kalen's question hung in the digital space between them. "Zara, may I call you Zara? I've been questioning everything since that day in the conference room. The Council's methods, their belief in forced compliance, the very foundation of everything I was raised to believe." He ran a hand through his dark hair, a gesture so human it made her heart ache. "You've changed me in ways I didn't think possible." Zara felt her resolve crumbling as she looked into his eyes. "You've changed. Me too," she admitted quietly. "I dream about you, Kalen, even while planning strategies to defeat your fleet. Part of me is thinking about what it felt like when you touched my hand, wondering what might have been possible if we'd met under different circumstances." The admission hung between them, dangerous and intoxicating. Kalen's expression softened, revealing vulnerability beneath his princely bearing. "There's something you need to know, Zara. The Council grows impatient with this extended conflict. They're planning something called the Final Protocol, a weapon that will make resistance impossible by targeting your planet's core. Unless Earth surrenders in the next 72 hours, they'll activate it." Horror flooded through Zara. "You're telling me how to defeat you? Why? Because I'd rather die fighting beside you than live knowing I helped destroy the most remarkable woman I've ever met," Kalen said with fierce conviction. "Because somewhere in these months of war, I realized that what I feel for you is stronger than loyalty to an empire built on subjugation." Their conversation was interrupted by alarms blaring on both ships. A Council patrol had detected the unauthorized transmission, and now both Zara and Kalen faced immediate danger from their own forces. "I have to go," Kalen said urgently. "But, Zara, know this, whatever happens in the coming battle, my heart belongs to you. Find a way to stop the Final Protocol. The activation codes are kept in the Council's central database aboard the Dominion." The transmission cut off, leaving Zara alone with the weight of impossible choices. She had classified intelligence that could save Earth, delivered by the enemy, prince she'd fallen in love with. More importantly, she now knew that Kalen was willing to betray his own people for her, and for the chance that love might triumph over conquest. 24 hours later, the largest space battle in human history erupted around Jupiter's moons. Earth's entire fleet engaged the Council forces in a desperate attempt to prevent them from reaching firing range of the home world. Zara commanded a strike force of humanity's fastest ships, using hit-and-run tactics to penetrate the enemy formation. Her target was the Dominion, specifically its central computer core where the final protocol's activation codes were stored. It was a suicide mission disguised as a military objective, and everyone knew it. But as Zara's fighter screamed through the battle zone, dodging plasma blasts and alien interceptors, she thought only of green eyes filled with determination and a love that transcended species. The Dominion's hangar bay was a marvel of alien engineering, but Zara had no time to appreciate its beauty. She and her small infiltration team fought their way through corridors filled with Council security forces, their human weapons proving surprisingly effective against enemies who had grown complacent after centuries of easy victories. She found Kalen waiting for her in the computer core, standing alone among towering data crystals that pulsed with ethereal light. He'd dismissed his guards and disabled the security systems, making himself vulnerable in a way that spoke of absolute trust. "I knew you'd come," he said softly, stepping toward her as she entered the chamber. They were alone for the first time since this war began, and the air between them crackled with months of suppressed desire and impossible longing. "I came for the codes," Zara said, but her weapon remained lowered as she drank in the sight of him. Battle had torn his uniform, revealing glimpses of the golden skin beneath, and his amber eyes held a heat that had nothing to do with the plasma battles raging outside. "Did you?" Kalen asked, moving closer until they were separated by mere inches. "Or did you come for me?" The truth hung between them like a bridge neither dared cross. Then Kalen reached up to touch her face, his alien fingers tracing the line of her jaw with reverent gentleness. "I love you, Zara Blackwood. I love your courage, your defiance. The way you make me want to be better than everything I was raised to be. I love you too," Zara whispered, the admission torn from her heart despite every logical reason why it was impossible. "I love you, and it's going to destroy us both." Their lips met in a kiss that held months of longing, fear, and desperate hope. It was soft and fierce simultaneously, a connection that seemed to bridge not just the space between them, but the vast cultural and biological differences that should have made their love impossible. Kalen's arms encircled her, pulling her against his strong chest as if he could shield her from the war raging around them. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard, their faces flushed with desire and the knowledge that this moment might be their last. "The codes," Kalen said, his voice rough with emotion. "They're here." He activated a data crystal, revealing the final protocol's shutdown sequence. "But Zara, there's something else. If you stop the weapon, the Council will never forgive my betrayal. They'll hunt me across the galaxy." "Then don't go back to them," Zara said fiercely, her hands fisting in his torn uniform. "Stay with me. Fight with me. We can find a way to make this work." "A human and an alien prince? Your people will never accept it, and mine will consider it the ultimate betrayal." But even as he spoke the words, hope flickered in his eyes. "Then we'll have to prove them all wrong," Zara said, pulling him down for another kiss. This one was different, deeper, more desperate, filled with the promise of a future they'd have to fight to claim. Her hands explored the planes of his chest through his clothing, marveling at the way his alien physiology responded to her touch with very human desire. The moment was shattered by the sound of approaching footsteps. Kalen's security forces had discovered his betrayal, and now both lovers faced immediate danger. Working together with the synchronization of partners who understood each other completely, they fought their way to the computer core's heart as Zara input the shutdown codes, disabling the weapon that would have destroyed Earth. Kalen stood guard with a captured Council weapon. "Whatever happens next," he called over the sound of plasma fire, "know that you've given my life meaning beyond duty or conquest. Save the poetry for when we're safe." Zara called back, though her heart soared at his words. The final protocols. Shutdown sequence initiated, sending cascading failures through the Council's weapon systems. Across the fleet, alien commanders watched in horror as their ultimate weapon died before it could be used. The battle turned in humanity's favor as Council forces, demoralized by the failure of their superweapon and confused by their prince's apparent betrayal, began to retreat. But victory came at a cost. Both Earth and the Council had suffered massive casualties, and the political fallout from Kalen's defection threatened to tear both civilizations apart. In the aftermath, as damaged ships limped towards safe harbors, and diplomats scrambled to arrange ceasefire negotiations, Zara and Kalen found themselves in an impossible position. He was a prince without a kingdom, branded traitor by his own people. She was a war hero whose love for the enemy made her loyalty suspect to hardline elements in Earth's government. Yet as they stood together on the observation deck of a neutral space station, where preliminary peace talks would soon begin, watching Earth's blue marble hanging in the void alongside alien ships that no longer fired upon each other, they knew their love had accomplished something remarkable. "Do you think it will work?" Zara asked, leaning against Kalen's shoulder as his arms encircled her from behind. "Peace between our peoples?" "It has to," Kalen replied, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. "Because if a human captain and an alien prince can find love in the middle of a war, then surely two civilizations can find a way to coexist." The peace negotiations would be long and difficult, with extremists on both sides opposing any accord. But as news of the star-crossed lovers who had ended a galactic war spread throughout both civilizations, something shifted in the collective consciousness of humans and aliens alike. Love, it seemed, truly could conquer all, even the vast emptiness between stars. Their story became legend, told in both human schools and alien academies, as proof that understanding could bridge any divide. Captain Zara Blackwood and Prince Kalen Vorthak, the lovers whose passion had changed the fate of worlds, had shown the galaxy that sometimes the heart's wisdom exceeded that of governments and councils. And in the quiet moments between diplomatic sessions and stolen kisses and whispered promises, they continued to prove that love was indeed the most powerful force in the universe.